The Maharaja suddenly spoke, unwanted. His voice was very soft, but the pain hidden in it was clearly felt. Shivangi's heart forgot to beat for a moment. It was then that she realized what she had inadvertently said. She remained silent for a few moments. She felt that both Yadavji and the Maharaja were looking at her. The atmosphere had suddenly become uncomfortable. Regaining her composure, she immediately tried to bring a normal smile to her face and said, "Oh, we have just gotten used to having the second cup of tea, so now we prefer that." She tried her best to lighten the conversation, but the Maharaja understood that she was lying. He knew that it was not just about the tea. It was about the memories associated with that tea, memories in which perhaps the biggest absence was himself. Still, he did not pursue the topic further. He remained silent, because for the first time, he felt how much was suppressed in his daughter's heart. At that moment, to lighten the atmosphere, Yadavji smiled and said, "Princess, how is your practice going?" "Your spiritual power and martial arts practice is at what level?" Shivangi replied without showing much emotion. "Everything is going well." Her answer was short, so short that it was almost impossible to continue the conversation. But perhaps today, the Maharaja did not want to miss this opportunity. For the first time in many years, he took the initiative to speak. With a slight smile, he said, "Yes. Your spiritual power is probably at level 5 right now, and you are currently studying warfare. Am I right?" Seeing the Maharaja talking to her, Shivangi was truly surprised. There was a time when she longed for such conversations, when she would rush to tell him about her small achievements. But today, all of this was happening too late. As soon as she heard his words, a momentary surprise appeared on Shivangi's face. But in the next moment, that surprise turned into disappointment. She looked slowly at the Maharaja. Then, in a very calm but cold voice, she said, "Maharaja, perhaps you were busy with your work. That's why you don't have much information about us." She paused slightly. Then she said, "It's okay. It wasn't such an important matter that you should remember it." There was no complaint in her voice, but that very thing was the most piercing, because complaints carry hope, whereas her voice only held disappointment. Then she said with a slight sarcastic laugh, "Maharaja, our spiritual power level is now 7, and we completed our study of warfare 2 years ago. Now our combat training is also in its final phase." Her words echoed in the air. For a few moments, the entire atmosphere became silent. The embarrassment on the Maharaja's face became clearly visible. He suddenly realized that he knew nothing about his own daughter's achievements, nothing at all. He was a king. He kept track of every little detail of his kingdom, but he was completely unaware of his daughter's progress. This thought began to gnaw at him from within. He started to mentally berate himself. He began to remember how many times Shivangi must have come to meet him, how many times she must have tried to tell him something, and how many times he must have brushed her off. Just then, Yadavji spoke. "Forgive us, Princess. It is our fault. We could not properly inform the Maharaja about your achievements. He was always busy, so—" But before Yadavji could finish his sentence, Shivangi interrupted him. She said in a cold voice, "Oh, Yadavji, please don't apologize. And the Maharaja has always been busy. He doesn't have enough time to pay attention to these trivial matters." As she said this, there was a smile on her face. But that smile did not reach her eyes. There was pain in it, years of accumulated pain. Her bitter remark shook the Maharaja to his core. Now it was clear to him that his daughter was not angry with him. The anger had long since faded. Now, in its place, disappointment had taken root, and disappointment is the most dangerous thing for any relationship. Yadavji immediately tried to change the subject. "So, what is the princess learning now?" Shivangi replied in a composed tone. "We have completed training in sword fighting and the operation of other weapons. Now we are practicing to control the 5 elements." Hearing this, Yadavji was impressed, but the Maharaja was feeling a different emotion. He felt both pride and regret. Pride because his daughter was extraordinarily talented, and regret because he had never been a part of her journey. The Maharaja wanted to say something. Perhaps he wanted to praise her. Perhaps he wanted to say that he was proud of her. But the words stopped at his lips, and at that moment, Shivangi stood up from her chair. She bowed her head and said, Maharaja, I apologize. We must leave. We have already wasted too much of your time. Now please grant us permission to go. Hearing her words, the Maharaja's heart seemed to tighten. Wasted time. Once this little girl would wait for hours just to spend a few moments with him. And today she considered herself a person who was wasting his time. Shivangi stood there for a few moments with her head bowed. The Maharaja could clearly feel the coldness and disappointment in her voice, but he could not say anything. He did not know how to bridge the years of distance with just a few words. Finally, Shivangi bowed to both of them and left from there. Her steps were quick, as if she wanted to get as far away from that place as possible. But as she left, her eyes were slightly moist. Perhaps no one saw it, or perhaps everyone did. As soon as Shivangi left, a deep silence fell over the room. For a while no one spoke. Then the Maharaja took a deep breath, and in a slow voice asked, What do we do now? How could we be so careless? Why did we not even imagine her achievements? Yadavji answered without hesitation, Maharaja, the princess always wanted to tell you, but you ignored her. Then he slowly began to recount the truth of the past years. Whenever she came to your office, you would tell her to leave if there was nothing very important to say, without listening to her completely. You even said that if there was any important information, she could inform through servants or letters, so that your time would not be wasted. With every word, the Maharaja's head was bowing lower. Now he began to remember each incident. That day, when Shivangi came after winning an award. That day, when she won her first sword competition. That day, when she just wanted to have a meal with him. And every time, he had brushed her off. The Maharaja said in a low voice, Did we make a mistake? But as far as I remember, a father should be like this. Our fathers were like this too. But as he said this, his voice weakened, because now he was no longer sure of his own words. A few moments later, he suddenly said, But I don't know why. Now Shivangi distancing herself from us, addressing us as Maharaja repeatedly, does not feel good at all. His eyes became moist. We want to hear Papa from her mouth like before. But now it is too late. Perhaps she does not even want to see us. Yadavji took a deep breath, then spoke in a calm voice. Maharaja, a father's love is the most important thing for a daughter, but you have always seen her as a king, never as a father. Hearing this, the Maharaja fell silent. Now he began to remember all his mistakes. Shivangi's childhood, her innocent smile, all her attempts to attract attention. Everything began to swirl before his eyes. Just then Yadavji said, Maharaja, the princess's birthday is coming up. This is the best opportunity for you. If you truly want to reconnect with her, this is the right time. The princess's birthday should be celebrated grandly. The Maharaja thought for a while. Then he slowly nodded his head. This time there was a new resolve in his eyes along with regret. Yes. This time, the princess's birthday will be the most special. We want to see her like before again. But little did he know, that fate had written something else for him. He had no idea that this very birthday, instead of reducing the distance between him and Shivangi, would increase it even more. A conspiracy was quietly advancing, the echoes of which no one could hear, and when it would come to light, it would not just be a birthday, many lives would change. After all, how would a grand celebration become a pawn in an unseen conspiracy? Would this birthday be a new opportunity for Shivangi? Or was something else already written in her fate? And who is it that is playing this entire game from the shadows? To find out, read the next chapter.